Be very careful when you're adapting the work of living authors, especially when they spend every other interview reminding you how much they hate Hollywood. That's the story of Sahara, the movie released 20 years ago back in 2005. A project so expensive, so mismanaged, so soaked in bribes and lawsuits, it didn't just flop. It pretty much destroyed the studio that made it. It all started with a Denver billionaire named Philip Anschutz. He wasn't a Hollywood guy, he was an oil and rail tycoon. But he wanted to make movies, and he made his entrance in the dumbest way possible. He paid $10 million just for the rights to Clive Cussler's adventure novels, specifically the Dirk Pitt series. And then he did the one thing everyone in Hollywood knows you never do. He gave the author total creative control. Cussler could approve the script, the director, the actors. He even bragged about turning down Tom Cruise because Cruise was too short. Every writer hired to adapt Sahara, Cussler called them hacks. He burned through 10 screenwriters, costing nearly $4 million, and still hated every draft. Rob Bowman was the first director hired. He agreed to make the movie, but only if he could shoot the script he believed in. Cussler refused. Bowman knew exactly where this was heading. He walked away, calling the situation the cancer that kills this movie. Breck Eisner replaced him. He was Michael Eisner's son, with zero experience handling a production of this scale. Cussler approved him anyway, thinking he'd be easier to control. The budget by this point was collapsing under its own weight. It started at $80 million. By the time cameras rolled, it had doubled to $160 million. In Morocco, production built bribery right into the expenses. The court records give us a pretty grim breakdown. They paid $237,000 in local bribes, another $40,000 just to pause a river improvement project because it was going to mess up their location, then $23,000 more for political and mayoral support. They blew $2 million filming a vintage airplane crash, then cut the entire sequence. And just to top it off, Matthew McConaughey was paid $8 million, plus nearly $800,000 in celebrity perks. Paramount charged a $20 million distribution fee just to handle the US release. Marketing swallowed another $61 million. All of this before a single ticket was sold. This thing was burning cash like there was no tomorrow. And just when you'd think that was the end of it, Clive Cussler went nuclear. Right before premiere, he tried to block the film's release entirely, suing Anschutz's studio. Claimed his contract gave him final say on the script, and they'd violated it. Anschutz's company, which was called Crusader Entertainment back then, countersued. They accused Cussler of lying about his book sales, saying he'd inflated the numbers by $50 million just to drive up his price. So the lawsuits were flying before the movie even opened, and when it finally did, Sahara flopped. It cost $160 million to make. Another $81 million on marketing and distribution. It brought in $119 million worldwide, not even close to breaking even. Bristol Bay, the studio that Crusader turned into, wrote down $78 million in losses, projected over 10 years. They were hoping to claw something back from TV rights, DVD sales, anything. But the legal bills kept coming. The lawsuits dragged on for 8 years. Cussler never stopped trashing the movie. He called it a disaster during his book tour, warned his readers the screenplay was awful. Anschutz's lawyer later said, "It's the height of arrogance for Cussler to take $10 million to make a movie and then torpedo the franchise." By 2013, the Colorado Supreme Court finally threw the last case out. But by then, the damage was done. The studio was finished. Since 2008, Bristol Bay never produced another movie.